Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do a quick summary / review of a book that I've listened to over the past 2 weeks or something like that. So the book is called How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's by Dale Carnegie, I don't know how you pronounce his name, but yeah, it's by him, and it's an interesting book. I have listened to another one of his books called How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. So I like the style of his books, but what I would say is the way that he does it is he has a long story before he gets to the point of what he's trying to make. So that might get annoying for some people, but yeah. So I've just got some notes here, sort of four post-notes that give the main messages of the book. Well, my main takeaways anyway. So the first one is criticism is futile, and the example that he uses for this is basically he says that, and I do agree, is that even criminals that have been convicted of even some of the very horrific crimes, they don't blame themselves. They get defensive and they try and justify their actions. So this isn't just obviously in court, this is in general. Even after they've served the prison sentence, whenever they're asked about it, they will try and justify their actions. So the idea is if a criminal can do that, then your average member of public, when you criticize them, they're obviously going to get on the defensive and they're going to try and justify their actions. So it's never useful. As much as possible, don't criticize. As much as you can, try and let things go, and unless it's if it is absolutely necessary, then the suggestion that he gives is start off with praising that person. So everyone's got some good qualities. I don't think there's a person that's all bad, so they must have some good qualities. They might have some good qualities that are relevant to the work that they do. So it's bringing up those qualities, so praising them, and then kind of moving on to the area of improvement. The key thing with this is you have to be genuine in your praises. So it has to be genuinely something that you admire about them. And also when you do it, the idea is to not give the praise and then say but, because that means you didn't mean any of the praise, you're just trying to set them up. So that's never good. So I suppose a way to look at it, so say you could say I really like the way you're doing X, Y and Z, and I think if you did this, then you'd have an even better outcome. So that kind of sort of indirectly indicates where they need to improve, and yeah, they won't build resentment, and they'll actually try and work on it, which is best for everyone. Sometimes when you are criticized, and try to talk about your mistakes as well, that kind of sort of makes them feel a little bit better. So it's still painful, so as much as possible don't try and do it, but if you have to, do it in that way. Then the next main point that he has is avoid all arguments as much as possible. So even whether you're right or not, an argument never feels good. So even if you're right, you wouldn't have really truly changed that person's mind. Really, people just have to experience what you're trying to say themselves, and then they'll believe you. And I'm sure parents can obviously agree with that you can tell your child to not do something over and over again, and this is obviously children that are adults now. You can tell them this isn't good for you over and over again, but they won't believe you until they experience it themselves and then regret it. So people honestly just have to experience it themselves. It's just important to let those things go. Whether you're right or wrong, you permanently don't change a person's mind. So what's the point? Yeah, and again, if you do have to disagree, so disagreements are inevitable. So if you do, especially in a professional environment, disagreements, it's important to get to the bottom of it, because it might be a business decision relying on it. So I suppose when you do have to disagree with someone, it doesn't necessarily have to lead to an argument, but yeah, starting off with what you agree on is always a good starting point. Another point is when you're wanting something. So when you are wanting something, your approach needs to be gentle and kind, to sort of get it. And this isn't sort of trying to manipulate the person to give you what you want. This is just it's just a nicer approach, and the person is more likely to help you. So I think an example, I used to work in retail, And people that work in retail, they have a list of rules, kind of, say if you're dealing with returns, they have a list of rules. If this thing looks like this, you can't accept it back for a return or whatnot. So there is that list of rules that you have to go by. And then when someone comes in and they're asking for a return, if they have a big attitude, very moody, very entitled, you are just going to go by the rule book and say, this is the rules, we can't accept that back, right? But if they are calm about it, if they take the right approach and tone, you as the employee will make that extra effort. You know, you will go and talk to your manager, will make that extra effort to see if you can accept it in this occasion, kind of thing. So that's why your approach, it always matters. You know, that person, if you're kind and gentle, that person will go above and beyond to try and get you what you want. It's just how it is. Okay, another main thing is appeal to the nobler motives. So I think just assume that the person has good intentions. So if the person has done something that's led that isn't good, right? Assume that they wanted to do the right thing. Having bad intentions is usually the exception to the rule. So just assume that a person has good intentions, and if it's gone wrong, then try and help them if there is anything that you could have done to help them not get to that point. That's sort of the attitude to have on it. Obviously this thing, assuming the person has good intentions, obviously it can be dangerous. Context matters, and so I would say that's a really bad approach if you're in, like, depending on your situation. Say if you're walking home alone at night and someone offers to give you a lift, I would say don't assume good intentions in that case and don't get in the car, right? Because if you're wrong, if you've assumed good intentions and you're wrong, that is going to go really bad, right? Just horrific. I think what you have to say, the assumption whether the person has good intentions or bad intentions is, if you're wrong about that assumption, what's the worst that can happen? I guess just putting that in your mind will help you decide whether you should assume someone has good intentions or bad intentions. So yeah. And then some more general things, so not specifically, I'm not going to spend too much time on these, but just the more general comments. Let the other person think that the idea is theirs. So this is, I think, more in a professional environment, but actually it can be in a personal as well. Give some room for the other person to contribute to the idea. Everyone wants to be part of an idea, so yeah, allow them that space to contribute for it, so they feel good about it, right? And a funny thing that happened is, at work, this person, I had just agreed with this person on their idea. It was their idea, and I just agreed with it. I don't know what my wording was, but I just agreed with it, and they just gave me credit for their own idea. It was their idea. But so something like that, it was just so kind. I've never seen that before. So something I'm going to remember for years, and when interacting with that person, I'm going to remember that. So this is sort of the whole message of the book, is people remember praise and criticism for many years. I don't know, maybe it's a bit petty, but humans are just like that. I'm sure you yourself can remember a time that you've been criticised. If it's been done in a wrong way, you can remember it. And also genuine praise, you can also remember that as well. So yeah, given that people can remember praise and criticism for years to come, and praise helps with their growth, then it's in the benefit of us all to praise more and to try and be very careful in the way that we criticise. Another thing is, obviously we've heard it loads of times, is put yourself genuinely in that person's shoes. So when someone is acting a certain way, just think, would you be acting like that if you were in that exact same situation? And you never know, you might be. So try and not take things to heart and stuff like that. Yeah, I suppose the general thing, obviously, with this book, it gives you general pieces of advice that you might have heard many times, and it might sound easy to apply it, but honestly it's a whole different story. I think I was going to go and read it and try and find an awkward situation, whether it be personal or work related, that we could go through and saying, with these principles, how would we act to try and get the best possible outcome. And I think it's very difficult to apply. It's just something that you just have to be conscious of what you're doing. So I think like a way to do it is if you're instantly angry by something, give it some time before you actually react and talk to the person. So because honestly, when you're angry, you're not rational. So, but once you've given it some time, then you can have a better approach in how you react to something. So I think that these kind of things is supposed to be genuine. So it's not. So they're not. The intention isn't for this to be used in a manipulative way. In the wrong hands, obviously, these kind of techniques can be used to manipulate people. But the thing is you genuinely want to be a better person to be around, and that these kind of motives, when done in a genuine way, right? Not in a way to always get what you want, but in a genuine way, you want to help out more, you want to improve, then these will work. The more you try and apply them, and the case is as well to not be put off, like just when you try some of these things out in your real life and it doesn't give you the point of this is not as long as you do this it will always give you that outcome. That's not the case. It will give you improved outcome to what you're currently getting. So I hope you enjoyed, and give that audiobook a listen to. The person that reads it has a very soothing voice, so if you struggle to sleep, then it's a good start. It's a good place. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.